Good evening and welcome to the November 1st meeting, special meeting of the West Sacramento Planning Commission. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Charlie Moore, would you please lead us tonight? Tonight's agenda is on the counter along with the white request to speak cards. The request to speak cards should be completed and turned into the clerk on my right prior to the completion of any staff presentation. Today we have one public hearing agenda item for tonight's meeting. For those speakers who would like to speak on items not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of this commission, please write item A on your card, or if you wish to speak on the specific agenda item, please write the agenda item number 2 on your card. All speakers will be limited to 3 minutes, and you can track your time by monitoring the clock. Speaking in public may cause some individuals to feel uncomfortable, so everyone is asked to be professional and respectful to all speakers. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and televised, so all speakers, in order to be recognized, must be called on by the chair, come forward to the microphone, and please state your name for the record. At this time, we will take up presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the commission. And just a reminder, the commission is prohibited by law from discussing issues not on the agenda brought to them at this time. And I do not have any request to speak cards, so we'll move to the correspondence and staff communications and the Planning Commission. Secretary, Mr. Tilley.
Yes, thank you, Chair Guerrero. You should have 3 memos in front of you tonight. The first one is from our Community Development Director, Charlene Hamilton. This is a follow-up to some informal discussion we had at the end of our last meeting regarding some potential improvements along West Capitol Avenue in light of some of the recent incidents out there. And then the second 2 memos are from myself regarding regular agenda item number 2, which is the Resolution 16-4 PC. I would intend to address those in more detail during my presentation on that item.
Thank you. And the next item is a disclosure of ex parte communications. Planning commissioners should disclose any communications they have had on the agenda items at this time. Is there any to my left and any to my right? No? Okay. And we will now have consideration and approval of the minutes from the October 20th commission meeting. I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Sternfels and Commissioner Tumber seconds. All in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Commissioner Kelcher abstains. Any noes? Motion is approved. Next, we have a regular agenda item, the public hearing regarding consideration of Resolution 16-4 PC. And the Planning Commission will consider approval of the resolution, which would recommend that the City Council approve via Resolution General Plan 2035, a comprehensive update to the city's existing general plan, certify the General Plan 2035 Environmental Impact Report, make findings, adopt overrides, and adopt mitigation monitoring plan pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, and approve Ordinance 16-7 making corresponding changes to the zoning map. And we will conduct the public hearing, approve the resolution, and inform that this will take place on City Council on November 16th for the final approval. Mr. Tilley.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair Guerrero, members of the Planning Commission. Tonight we are here at a fairly momentous occasion. It's a formal hearing on General Plan 2035. By way of background, this is something that we started in 2006 and have been working on off and on ever since. And so we've been through several workshops here before the Planning Commission more recently, which were preceded by numerous community meetings and design charrettes, the environmental review process, et cetera. So tonight we are here for a formal hearing. So we have had our most recent workshop here at the Planning Commission October 20th, which was preceded by the night before by a workshop with the City Council on the 19th. We have made what we hope to be some of the final edits to the policy document based on the comments that we received from both the Planning Commission and the City Council at those last 2 workshops. In the policy document and highlighted in yellow, we've accommodated equestrians and fishing, which are two items that came back up at our last Planning Commission meeting. And then we've also made some adjustments in the mobility element in response to some of the comments we received at the City Council regarding the notion of shared mobility and integrated transportation, and also the potential use of neighborhood electric vehicles on bike paths and trails. We've adjusted the goal related to transportation and shared mobility, and then the NUVs, we actually adjusted one of the implementation policies, programs, excuse me, as it actually does require state approval to use NUVs on off-street locations. And then we've also completed some of the policy language in the general plan related to climate change that will thus tee up the Climate Action Plan, which is a implementation measure of the general plan that is coming here in the next couple of months for consideration. So we've made these adjustments in response to your comments and within the policy document, and we're hoping that these do address your comments as well as the council's sufficiently such that we can proceed here with your consideration tonight. A couple of new items we have tonight, they're new but not necessarily new information. We have the zoning map prepared. Mr. Lafayette has prepared. This mirrors the general plan land use map that we have been looking at our last several meetings. Zoning really is the day-to-day and parcel-by-parcel implementation of the general plan, so we would want this to move forward along with the general plan. Zoning designations mirror the land use designations that are in the general plan, and this is meant to be consistent with the general plan that we have been considering this whole time. Most zonings remains the same as it is today, as with what's shown on the general plan land use map. There are a few areas that would change, such as Stone Lock and Sacramento Avenue that we've discussed in the context of general plan. But then here's how it's showed and mirrored and reflected in the zoning. You also tonight have the final EIR before you. This is part of the CEQA process. We released the draft EIR for public comment, and then once the public comment period is closed, we prepare what's known as the final EIR. This includes all of the comments we received, which we received a dozen on this general plan, which some were from outside agencies, some were from other private parties. It includes our responses to all of those parties in there. Includes any errata. We have some corrections, to make to the body of the draft, some of which is in response to some of the comments that we received, for clarification purposes, such as what we got from the Air District and the Delta Protection Commission. And we also have the findings, and this is another requirement under CEQA to help conclude the environmental review process. The findings sort of establish our basis for approval of the CEQA document. They recount a lot of what the public review process included, and then they also include the necessary overrides, given that we do have some impacts that at this point in time at least are considered to be significant and unavoidable. And then lastly, we provided you the mitigation monitoring plan for this general plan EIR. So tonight, after you conduct the public hearing, we are seeking approval of the resolution 16-4 PC. This resolution bundles together all the necessary components into one resolution for the council's consideration on November 16th. This would be your formal communication to the council, a formal record of your decision in terms of recommending approval of the general plan, certification of the EIR, approval of the zoning map amendments, the overrides, mitigation monitoring plan, et cetera. These are all the mechanics, if you will, of completing this general plan update. As we mentioned earlier, the council hearing is scheduled for November 16th, pending your decision tonight. And then we would anticipate that based on the ordinance approval, first and second reading at council, that the general plan and zoning will be effective about mid-January. So with that, I'd like to close my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Tilley, and I also concur with recommending approval tonight of Resolution 16-4 PC. You've done a very good job over the years to fortify our general plan for 2035, and I think we're on track, and approval would really be important for us to move forward on developments and projects as we are moving forward.
Thank you, Chair. I do apologize. I omitted a quick reference to the two memos that I have in front of you tonight. We did discover two minor errors in some of the attachments we provided to you. So the first memo is regarding the resolution. We have edited that for clarification. One section on page 2, recital number 5, to expand on that a little bit on the advice of the city attorney's office. And then secondly, the land use map that we provided to you did not include those two changes, those two small changes that we discussed at our prior meeting. So what was attached to that memo regarding those two properties is on that map. So should the commission wish to move the recommended action tonight, that it would reference the information in the two memos.
Okay, so we have the amended version before us, and just making sure all the commissioners have those in their possession for us to review, because that is what we will be going by to approve. Okay, thank you. And just bringing it back to the commissioners before we open up the public hearing for public comment, which we don't have any request to speak at this time, but just asking to my left for the Commissioner Liebig, do you have any comments or questions? Or?
The only comment I have at this time is I would like to commend staff for all of their hard work on this process and on these documents, all these documents coming together at one time. This really is a momentous occasion, and I've had the pleasure of working on this for the past 9 years, not 10 years, as Mr. Ricola, when Mr. Ricola was starting the process. So again, thank you for all your hard work to shape the policies that will be guiding our city over the next 20-plus years.
Dr. Kelton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to echo Commissioner Liebig's comments. It's not terribly unusual for a general plan to have lots of trap doors, back doors, side doors, and other means of exit for some who seem not to want to comply with a lot of the provisions of the general plan. And I have not seen that here. It's an extraordinary document in its not only integrity, but also its internal consistency. I think you and staff deserve a lot of credit for having done this beautiful job.
Thank you, Dr. Kelter. Commissioner Tumber?
I mean, similar comments, but I wanted to say that I haven't been around for the last 9 years, like Commissioner Liebig, and I haven't been on any commissions prior to serving the Planning Commission. And it's really just been such an honor and such a pleasure to be a part of this process, to review the policies, the documents. I did study urban studies in college many years. That was probably about 10 years ago, but it's been really just so exciting, and I'm just so excited to see where the city is going. It's been such a pleasure really to be a part of this, even though it's a little bit at the 11th hour, but I've enjoyed it. So thank you for all of your hard work, to all of you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tumber. Commissioner Moore?
Thank you. David, I have to agree with everyone. I mean, this is really a project. I see Mr. Rickla showed up to see if you really could get this passed or not. That's good, you know, a little backup for you. You know, I only have one question that remains, and we've talked about it in general, and it's in the Southport area. We talked that in general, all the subdivisions out there are going to have an increase in density, or could have that should they want to do so. But, you know, we already have done a lot of that in our planning already with Yarborough, and, you know, those plans stay in place, right, like they were?
Yeah, both Yarborough and River Park have vested entitlements, and in their development agreement, they have a maximum unit cap in
Right.
each one. So if they want more, they have to come back and ask.
So they kind of have to start over again, should they want to do that?
Well, they would need to come back through some form of a planning
Right.
process, and we're actually starting that with River Park now.
Okay, that was it. But otherwise, you know, I'm glad to see that we were able to make comments and get them included, and, you know, seeing the comments coming from some of those agencies, a lot of them are very general, but, you know, you have to respond to them. But we understand if we add more people to our town, we're going to add traffic. I mean, normal. So, but I thought the comments were very well done, and that's a part that nobody sees in here is that, and it's a huge part of the general plan.
Yeah, and that final ER was provided to the commenting parties already.
Again, thank you.
Commissioner Sternfels.
Well, since everyone else is saying something, I shared my thoughts and feelings last meeting, not knowing I would be here tonight, but I am very grateful to be here tonight to vote on what I think has been, what is an excellent product and a result of a lot of really hard work and public outreach and engagement, and a very robust process of feedback. Very easy to jump down a lot of different rabbit holes in a process this big, and you and the team have managed to keep this thing on track, especially here in this last 2 years as things have picked up again and really bring it to the finish line. So I commend you and the entire team, and I'm very glad and privileged to be part of what I think is an excellent example of good government and making government work for the people in our community.
Commissioner Austin?
I gotta jump in on this love fest. So yes, I want to echo everything that my fellow planning commissioners have said before me. So interestingly enough, little fun fact, I moved here in 2007, and I moved here in the summer of 2007, buying my first home with the intention of raising my family here, very much because I was very inspired by the trajectory of the city and the good work that our elected and appointed officials were moving the city towards. This document has somehow survived the loss of redevelopment and a pretty significant economic downturn. So recognizing some of the really significant setbacks that staff particularly faced. Also, to echo Commissioner Sternfeld's comments, I really want to acknowledge the robust public input process that went into this. I know that I've contributed comments to what became the general plan as a resident, as a parks commissioner, and as a planning commission. And what I'll end with is, I've mentioned this to many people, that you would be hard-pressed to find a better planning commission than we currently have. And I really think that, I feel very honored that with the incredible experience of, sustainability, economic, legal, community involvement, environmental perspectives that we, as a planning commission, bring to this. It's pretty exciting that this planning commission is going to be approving the general plan at this juncture. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tilley and everybody tonight, I think this is an extraordinary time here that I feel privileged also, and echo my fellow commissioners' comments, to, be here as chair, making sure that we seal this and move forward. I'm real excited that, yes, over the years, since 2005, being on the Economic Development Advisory Commission, seeing some of what we had planned back then and now being, moving forward and providing us with, recreational opportunities, entertainment opportunities, seeing the community just thriving, and seeing our, revenue boost as a result of the success that the city had envisioned and now moving forward. Also, in the Universal Preschool for West Sacramento and the Aging Commission participation that I've had, seeing the healthy element, community element components being in there, I have felt that, the city staff and, leadership has really embraced the residents holistically. And as a social worker, I think that's, incredible to see that we've done such a great job in looking at, from the youth, from our, newborn to the elderly, and everybody in between, making sure that families stay together, and also looking at the mobility element, being on the Yolo County Transportation Citizen Advisory, District Advisory, Committee, that I can see that we, have some work to do, and I've, been a part of some of the, looking at how we can make some modifications, the streetcar, being our strength moving forward to bridge, between Sacramento and West Sacramento, that being an important component to, make sure that we increase mobility, and then looking forward in the future and how we continue to do that work. And I think this general plan really establishes some visionary long-term goals that I am looking forward to, making, seeing that happen in the future. So thank you, everybody, for all the hard work and your dedication. Thank you. So now I will, now that we don't have any other comments, I would like to open up the public hearing for public comment at this time, and I don't have any request to speak cards, but we have some members of the audience if, no, okay, then I'll close it up and bring it back to the commissioners. Are there any additional comments? No, okay. It looks like we are ready to take action at this time.
Well, Chair Guerrero, I'd like to make a motion to approve staff recommendation, including the modifications to the resolution 16-4 PC as presented by staff in the memo dated November 1st, 2016.
Commissioner Austin moved.
And the land use map as well?
Thank you.
Yes.
for that. I'd like to make a motion to approve staff recommendation that includes the modifications to Resolution 16-4 PC as presented in the memo by staff dated November 1st, 2016, as well as the, thank you, as well as the clarification to the general plan land use map presented by staff dated November 1st, 2016.
I'd like to second that motion.
Okay, Commissioner Austin moved, Commissioner Tumber seconds. All in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes, any abstentions? Motion is approved unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. I would like to acknowledge your work on this. We have been at this many times on our agenda, especially over the last, year or so. And so we will be sure that, and I'm certain that the council recognizes your work on this. They do count on you tremendously to, get into the details on these projects. So thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Okay. Next item, we will take on any informal discussion. Do we have any from fellow commissioners? No? Okay, then we will adjourn.
Well, since we're not going to have a baby today, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
All right, meeting adjourned.